Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream scene. I hope you guys are doing well. We've got an awesome episode for you guys today, talking about convention prep and TwitchCon 2019, which is coming up in just a few weeks. I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, the Hunter Wild. What's up, Hunter? How you doing?
Good morning. This entire weekend, I don't know if my perspective is going to be a little bit better on this today. I have recently moved to Seattle. PAX West is this weekend, and I have been going full throttle on PAX West, and it has changed my perspective on how I want to treat cons and what I think are some good practices for it. So I'll be able to share a little bit of that. All things considered, because I didn't have to travel for it, I'm doing great. If this had been a travel weekend for PAX West, I would probably be not here.
Yeah.
Just miserable and sad and gone. But we are joined by two fantastic people. I'm really excited to get their perspective and share their perspective. Brandon and Avalonstar, two fantastic people. I'll let them introduce themselves. They probably won't talk about how fantastic they are. Maybe Brandon. I don't know. We'll see.
What?
Go for it. Who are you? What do you do? And where can we find you as well?
Don't do that. None of that. No, don't follow me. Don't look at my stream. Just follow Loco. She's fine. She's nice. I'm Brandon. I play video games on the internet like everybody else here. And I go to conventions. I'm going to talk about going to conventions. Don't go to my Twitter.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We also have Avalonstar here. Avalon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm also a gamer. I did say before the cast, but I was just sitting here to look pretty.
Said you were a gamer.
Oh, well.
We managed to get a gamer on the show.
Did I come on the wrong one? Am I sure this is my show? Oh, dang. Yeah. I stream mainly like Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy 14 and other games I'm passionate about. I'm also loud and am very opinionated.
That's awesome.
Is that true?
We met when I was still.
Am I learning
Twitch,
things
right?
about you?
No, you're not. You've like responded to my rants on Twitter. Also, don't look at my Twitter either.
But those just seemed reasonable.
We're very much very similar here. You just don't want to look at our streams or Twitter or anything like that. We're very
my shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm just riding the coattails of,
Hey guys, I'm Avalonstar. I'm
So we're gonna be talking about TwitchCon prep. I just can't. Okay, we're gonna talk about TwitchCon 2019. It's coming up in just a few weeks now. This is the
fifth
TwitchCon.
I think it's the fifth one.
Fifth.
It is the fifth TwitchCon, and it is the first time that we have come back to a previous convention location. We're going to be in San Diego for the second time, and hopefully, in my opinion, I hope this is where TwitchCon NA stays going forward.
That it's going to have a standard?
But,
like a fixed destination?
I mean, I hope so.
Like a normal conference? Wow.
Yeah, like virtually every single other one.
Or at least come to the East Coast. Like I keep gotta flying to California, and they keep picking terrible cities. Like Long Beach was awful.
Yeah.
What was last year's?
San Jose.
San Jose.
That was the worst city I've ever been in.
I didn't like it. Did not.
I think that's why they went back to San Diego, because I think most people agree that the San Diego is the best city they've ever traveled to.
Yeah.
It was the best. It was the best one. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it too, and I think what they're trying to do is kind of like suss out like West Coast locations to try to find one that they want to come back to.
Sure.
So I hope this is a sign that it will stay. But now they have TwitchCon EU, so we're gonna be seeing, I guess, 2 TwitchCons a year now.
It seems like it. The European one, from what I'm hearing, went over really well, but I didn't go to Europe.
No, me neither. Avalon, did you?
Same. No, I didn't go. I heard a lot about it though. About like the prep wasn't great. When you actually
leading
went,
up to it was
leading up to it was not that awesome.
Very last minute.
And then and then but it felt like a friend meeting. It felt like a gathering, like Vancouver or London's big gatherings. It just felt like one of those run by Twitch. So I guess people, you can't screw that up. So people looked at it positively.
Yeah,
Which I think is
I like your
maybe
perspective.
a bit of a difference now, because the last 2 years at TwitchCon have been much more what's a good word for it? Corporate? Much more
Sure.
PAX-y, much more formal, as opposed to the first TwitchCon, which was effectively empty, and it was just everybody hanging out. It felt very similar to that. I really liked that con.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the first TwitchCon a lot. Most people who went said that they didn't really enjoy it because there wasn't a lot to do. That was the busiest con I've ever had.
I mean, it was the first, and you were like seeing people or meeting people for the first time if they had not gone to a PAX, and yeah, it was Twitch not really knowing what they were doing with it, and I think a lot of people talk about PAXs that way, right? Like people are like, no, unless you know exactly what you're doing at a PAX, you just don't go, or you go to the city to see your friends, but you don't actually buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Like you're either going for business or you're just going simply for the people.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the first TwitchCon was cozy, but I do agree with the criticism that there wasn't a lot to do. Like there weren't many booths. You could definitely like finish everything, like tour the whole place probably in a few hours.
With
And
conversations.
yeah, everything was kind of like sparse too. Like there was like this whole like area with a couple like they were booths, but they were like really just like tables, like that you just walk around to. I don't know. It was like it was very like I don't know, just like it's very small and quaint. So I don't know. I like obviously a convention that like it's easy to find people and meet people, but also at the same time, this is a business thing too. Like for a lot of streamers, there's a lot of opportunities. I think a lot of streamers can only go to maybe one convention a year, and they pick this one. So having opportunities and having like businesses and stuff that are there is definitely like really helpful, I think.
Yeah, and being able to make it a mixed bag. I mean, when that's all there, you can still treat it as a social event, right? There's nothing about that obligates you to, go around and do all the networking with the actual, PR people and the corporations themselves. My personal favorite standard convention, I went on the con floor for like an hour and mostly, treated it as a social event. It was really fulfilling. Zero business came out of it. So, it's nice to have the mixed bag, but I'll be interested to see what they do this year. How like are the walkways going to be like 2 feet? Like you've got like, because it's so packed with I mean, not filler stuff, but there's a lot of booths. I don't know how any of that is going to be oriented. I don't know how to get an idea of that ahead of time because I don't think we've got a map or anything.
No, they weren't even using the entire San Diego Convention Center like in San Diego either, like during their first one. So I mean, they have room to grow. I mean, it supports like my wife goes to Comic-Con every year, so like it supports a con that big. So TwitchCon has room to grow if they're if they actually stay in San Diego. But yeah, I don't think space should be a problem. I think from my end, it's more like how do they structure the programming? Because like for instance, the party was a extra ticket. Like you have to buy into the party. Also like there were talks about like the how the artist alley is going to be, and what other focuses they were going to have. And that's what I guess when you're looking at the con as a con like that, when you're taking the social bit out of it, it's like what are they actually putting focus on? Like do we have a schedule for like panels or things like that? I don't think we do.
That's been published?
Has been published?
I haven't seen anything.
I just feel like the call wasn't as loud this year as it was in like past years. Like you don't have a lot of people being like, "Hey, I'm submitting this panel for TwitchCon." And
that's true. I mean, I didn't
felt a little
recognize
quieter,
that because of how quiet it was.
Yeah,
I remember in previous years it was always.
I don't see panels. I see community events, which are at like lounges, meetup spaces. I see creator stuff of like Fortnite Open. You, my friend, are a brand, which sounds okay. Yeah, I guess this is the panel. It's under creator.
That sounds panel-y.
Yeah, there's a ton. So you want to be a streamer, learn the basics of being a streamer. Just for those of you out there who can't make the panel, it's just turn the stream on. And you did it. Saved everybody an hour.
Make sure to use Twitch Studio.
I forgot they put that out. That thing's cool.
It looks really good.
We had nothing in 2012.
I have not even looked into it.
That was the worst. 2012, I mean, you had to learn so many things just to turn a stream on. Now it's
Oh my God.
you
Yes.
could fall on your face and you will be live by the time you hit the ground.
That's my approach.
I mean, personally, I'm just looking forward to what they announce. Like, it's like, you know, the way that I guess, you know, people at home treat a con like this is the announcements.
Yep.
And I mean, that's how I was during EU when they were like, hey, everybody gets net 15 or, you know, for payments and stuff like that. That was like the big stuff. It's like, you know, the Apple or the Google keynotes and stuff. So I'm wondering what they're going to give us.
Oh, I
If
totally forgot
anything-
about that. Yeah.
If anything,
Last
you
year,
know.
we got some really neat stuff, I think, right? There were moderator tools. There were
Moderator tools, yep.
I don't remember what all it was, but I remember not being excited about hearing what it was because I had low expectations. And then
Mhm.
I heard like 4 or 5 things. I was like, it's not a huge deal, but it's like, that's really exciting. That's something that I'm very happy to see. And of course, those tend to get announced all at once and then rolled out over time. So that'd be really nice to
Yeah.
That does have me a little bit more excited.
I mean, I think last year was very toned down in terms of announcements. So I do wonder what they're going to be announcing this year. Do you guys have any predictions? Probably some more information
what
about the
else
Twitch
could they
Studio,
do?
right?
I mean, we
Yeah.
go back to the, I guess, first TwitchCon, right? And it was Twitch Prime.
Yep.
And that's the greatest thing that that they could possibly ever give us. I remember I couldn't get into the keynote. I had a meeting beforehand and it was full and the security guard just would not let me sit on the floor. So I went up to the partner lounge and watched it on TV, and I'm in the partner lounge and there's just a bunch of people scratching their head when Wheat's talking about her, you know, whoever it might have been. And I'm crying. I'm like, I'm going to make triple the money. I'm going to make quadruple the amount of money. That every streamer is going to make at least double the amount of money.
Just wiping your face with cash, just
Right.
oh, the tears.
And it's guilt-free cash. It's from Amazon. They have more money than
Thank
God.
you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So like, there's nothing they could do aside from saying we're going to buy every streamer a house. But that's it. You're an affiliate house on the moon,
Mm.
right? I
That's
can't.
true.
I
They
can't
did.
get
They
excited.
did blow out one of the biggest announcements they could have ever given us at the first one. So yeah.
Right.
Well, do
Yeah,
they
and then-
have to top that though? Like, or are there
No,
things like that
yes.
you'd like to see or improvements you'd like to see?
Every date I go on has to be better than
I mean,
Every
people, like,
single
the
one.
media is going to say yes. You have to. This year's E3 was boring. Last year's E3 was boring. Where are the new consoles? It's always going to be compared to the previous years.
That's
The
true.
general consensus will always follow that trend. In that sense,
Mhm.
Twitch Prime can't be beaten. So from a streamer perspective, they'll never be able to top it without giving us more money somehow. And really, they shouldn't because we already make too much. I mean, Twitch Prime is insane. It's just free
I don't-
money every time someone clicks a button.
I don't know what
but-
Brandon's talking about.
He's high on those gummy worms.
They're not worms, okay?
Ooh.
They're circles, and there's another weird shape that's not.
That's
I think
an
not appropriate.
Ouroboros.
Not, I don't know. This one looks like a cane. But for viewers, there could be big things. I think Discovery was really huge.
That was last year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
yeah, just
Yeah.
the
Discovery
small
thing.
streamer row on the dashboard.
Was that announced last year?
Was that was
Yeah.
last year? The year
Hmm.
that they did the worst, I think, if I'm just for context, because last year was a lot better because the year before that in Long Beach, they like I don't think any of those things actually survived. Like that was rituals.
Oh,
That's the whole press a button to say hi in chat.
They killed
like,
that.
I like
They
those.
killed
I like that too.
They killed it, and they were they
I
actually had said that they
loved
were
it.
going to iterate on it, and they never did. So like I think a lot of the stuff that they had announced in 2017 wasn't actually put forward, but then 2018, you know, there was Twitch Rivals, there was the moderator tools, there was I believe there was the new highlighter tool.
Squads.
squad
Squad
streaming?
Squad streaming was the big one.
Still, but
Squad
that's an
streaming was the
interesting
big
one.
I
yeah.
can't get hyped about that. Mixer did it 2 years ago.
No, sure. But it did happen.
Sure, but it should have happened 2 years ago.
I agree.
They have. I mean, but that's one of the great things about the competition, right? Is like somebody does something cool
Yeah,
and you're
it
like,
pushes them
well-
forward, which is you know, why
into
like
that.
I'd like to see that kind
Yeah.
of stuff happen.
But I don't want to give Twitch a pass for doing something 2 years later.
It's not a pass, just a little bit of recognition, just a
Yeah.
sprinkling.
I think you can still appreciate it. Like,
I do appreciate it. I've used it a few times, but
I have not
it
yet.
have been faster. Like Mixer has done great things in terms of making sure we got that, and most importantly, the low latency.
That's true
Low
too.
latency
Yeah,
was a
that
big
yeah.
announcement Twitch made, and when that finally came back, I'm like, okay, they're listening.
We also
It's
had
true.
a few weeks ago the channel points beta sign up going out in emails to people. Did you guys see that?
Oh, the channel, yeah, it's the resurrection of Revlo.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens.
Oh,
that's the last time I used channel points was Revlo, so it's like, you know, that cool. Speaking of things that come out like 2, 3, 4 years later, like
oh, dude,
I don't know. What I want to see out of Twitch, I just want to see some like dedication to their core product and not all of this fluffy stuff like rituals that just won't work. It's like, hey, we're gonna throw this out there, but you know, the net 15 thing was like, hey, that hits your bottom line, boom. Like the small streamer bro, it's like that hit that, you know, that's a need that people feel like they needed to fix, so they did that. I just want them to pour their efforts into that stuff and not fluffy things that product managers like to, you know, put on their resume.
Mod levels is like my biggest want for the platform, because one of my mods who, like, you know, watches every once in a while should not have the same level of control on my channel as like my assistant who lives in my home.
Well,
right? I want to.
What would be different? Like, how would you distinguish?
I want her to be able to mod people. I want her to be able to run specific commands that other mods can't. I want some of my mods to be able to time out but not ban.
Oh yeah, that's something I've been asking for a long time.
Permission rules, yeah.
Yeah, a broader set and more like a higher order. Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, World of Warcraft had that built into their guild system literally in Classic. That was 2005.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that and like, you know, civilization's been using that in the military for quite a while. It's not a new system. It should be pretty easy to.
And the code.
Yeah.
But yeah, the military in the 1700s. That's a point.
We're doing it for a little bit. So moving in the direction of preparation for TwitchCon, because it's under a month out now, right? It's like three weeks away. There's just a little bit of time, just enough time for some of the considerations that a lot of people need to make, and a lot of people who haven't ever had to go to cons before, or it's certainly not a TwitchCon, because there's tons of other stuff that people can do, PAXs all the time, and Gen Con and Comic Cons all over the place. So I know that one thing that always stands out to me, I always hear locos say it, is talking about a small smattering of things that have to be done well enough in advance. One is always business cards. What is the perspective on business cards from
hate
the two of you, and how to approach the networking with it? Because I feel like that obviously that ties in together.
Okay, I wonder if I had Salem. Do I have any business cards? Okay, bring me one. By the way, you should get an assistant. It's great. So I hate business cards. So what I did is Tiger Rider has a really nice one. It was like double card stock. It was beautiful. And I'm like, I already know who the hell you are, and this is useless, and I'm gonna throw it away. But damn, is it nice? And I had an idea. What if I had a really nice one that immediately gave people permission to throw it in the garbage?
Okay, I'm listening.
You don't have the thick ones? Oh, okay. Well, it's a double card stock. It's beautiful, right? It has a great logo on the front. And on the back, it says, I know you're going to throw this away, but please follow me on Twitter first. And it has my Twitter. And then in really tiny, like 4 font on the bottom, it says, oh, here's my email. It's really tiny, right? Just because if they cared enough to look, there's the information they wanted. But otherwise, just throw it right in the trash. It was like $20. I don't care.
I did something similar, actually. I
Copycat.
actually had no. It's similar, but not the same.
We brought the same guest on twice today.
Hunter, we wanted unique perspectives.
We messed up.
What have we done?
Look at the top streamers just stomping all over the smaller. So I had 2 business cards. I had one that I gave to people that I was meeting for the first time, and one that I gave it as a gift to the people that I knew. So it's like, hey, the first one was like, oh, you don't know me? Here's my Twitch link. That's it. Because you could get everything else from, just reading the panel page. The other one was like, hey, I know you, you're cool. And then I just, tongue in cheek, put my subscribe link down there. So it was like an emote on one. It was an emote on one side. It was a blank emote for like, oh, you don't know me, versus a happy emote for, oh, you do know me. And then on the other side was like, the 2 messages. So it was really simple, straight to the point. Like, it's like only put the pertinent information. I think you can have a lot of fun with business cards, and if it's like making your stream more.
Unique.
It's like differentiating your stream, differentiate your business cards a little bit, only put the information that you think you need to put. I'm a designer, so this is all like just coming out. Only the relevant information. Like, and really at TwitchCon, all that's relevant is probably your Twitter and your Twitch link.
Well, see, now that's what I want to hear, because a lot of people, you can tell people like only put the relevant information, but when you don't know what the relevant information actually is, or like how to discern it,
yeah,
everybody wants to still just go like, here's my entire, but I left off 2 things, so clearly that's the relevant information.
I think like people design these things for themselves. They're like, what would I want to see? But then you're being biased toward yourself because you think that's important. But like tear that down a little bit and be like, if I only had 2 things to say to you when we meet, I want my business card to say those 2 things and those 2 things only. That way you can make the font bigger, because one of my biggest pet peeves, like just looking at business cards over the years, is like, why is that 8-point font? Like, I'm not going to look at this again because you just made my eyes hurt. Like, you could just give me your Twitch link on a card and be like, wow, that's simple. I like it. And you'd remember, and I would have a higher time remembering that than like something with like all, it looks like modern day resumes, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's like you don't have to smatter me with all of that information.
Here's an idea that I'm going to move forward with, that I just had because of Brandon's idea of throw it away. Don't throw it away. Make it plantable. It's got seeds.
Someone's done that.
Of course someone's done that. It's a good idea.
Someone did that.
But make it plantable so that it has a QR code. You scan it. Boom, done. You got the information digitized now, right? So, or you have the digital connection, so you don't have to do any further work. And they just boop, as long as it's a non-invasive species to wherever you are. Like, hopefully you can customize them to have endemic species.
But like,
anyway,
what region of the world are you from? Let me check my book of plants.
Exactly.
Or you get this business card.
Or you get this one.
Well, no, you're doing it at the convention, right? Whatever convention you're going to is where they're at, and you don't want them to take it home. You want them to scan it right there, and then throw it in the grass, and then that does the thing, does the work. Anyway,
why would they throw it away?
What?
Please keep my business cards.
No, keep my heart near you, but put my business card in the flower bed.
So okay, so let's like look at this from the perspective of people that actually value business cards.
Yeah.
What you say pertinent information, what would that entail?
What's important at TwitchCon is like your URL, like your handle, but most people have sort of that same handle, so they can simplify it there. I think that, business card, just the default business card sort of has to change. Like, people want that easy single point of contact, right? And some people are like, yeah, you can put your email down, but is that really pertinent to everybody? Like, that's more stuff I have to remember. The more stuff I have to put on a business card, like your name, your handle, your Twitch link, your phone number, your email address, your personal email address. It's like unless you're actually designing it in a way that you have the 1 or 2 most important things. I think it was said in chat, like an elevator pitch. Yeah. It's that's the way I feel like these things should be designed, because like if I'm going to go back to them and I'm just going to go through them really quickly, I want yours to 1, catch my eye, and 2, be memorable enough that I want to actually go in and like either follow you on Twitter. A QR code is a good example of that. And just being able to take advantage of other technologies that people will use to keep that information.
Yeah, I definitely I've seen more and more people do QR codes for the adding little QR codes for their business cards.
So I wonder if this is more about maybe creating a central hub for your brand in the first place, right? Like a website's easy, obvious, and relatively popular. If the QR code directs there, and then that has all the stuff that you are not listing on your business card, the one thing that's pertinent and relevant is on your business card, and it's like, go to my address or, scan this. And then you go there and it has your, link to your Twitter, it has a link to your whatever platform you're on, so on and so forth, really minimizing it.
Really, a business card is it's your supporting cast.
Sure.
Because, you have to be memorable to a person so that they would want to be remembered. That's their window into their conversation with you when you give them that. It's like, hey, here's my business card. Okay, I look at it now. I remember my conversation with Hunter, and then boom, I'll act on that. It's not like the be all end all. It's your supporting cast.
Yeah.
So
Right.
here's a fun question. What do you mean by that? What do you mean you're going to act on that?
Like actually, like engage. Oh God, I should.
Yes.
Because let's say I'm an affiliate. I'm a new streamer. I have 5 viewers. I go to TwitchCon. I'm trying to meet people. I give them my business card. What's the end game? What am I hoping should happen? Like you're a pretty relevant streamer. If I give you my business card and I play one video game and I'm not even good at it, what do you care? Like what's going to happen? How do I make you care, and how do I make you want to engage? And then what does that engagement mean?
Wouldn't that be part of the networking though? Isn't that like kind of like, again, the business card being that sort of like supporting role that, hey, we had a good interaction. Here's a way to remember me by.
Yeah. I mean, usually I feel like usually the follow up is then like following them on Twitter, and you've made a friend and a connection, and you engage with them every now and then, and maybe your interests line up in a way that you guys can do something together.
I mean, actually, like what I've been doing a lot, when people have been doing with me a lot, is that if I'm always like, oh crap, I forgot my business cards, because I just don't like carrying anything on my person. So, we'll ask each other, hey, what's your Twitter? And then you immediately get the follow up there. You don't have to depend on them looking at something later. So that kind of all ties into how you actually converse and network with people. You want that interaction to either be instant or 1 or 2 steps. And I think business cards, the way people do business cards, really complicates that process.
So I did not the opposite. I did a similar route, but without a business card. When I was starting to grow and I needed to start making connections and get out of the small niche that I had built, I went to cons and I looked for people I knew. I looked for people that I knew from Twitter who I was a fan of, whose streams I would watch, whose YouTube videos I would watch, and I would get a picture with them, and then I would tweet it at them saying like, hey, it was cool to meet you. That's the fastest way to get my attention too, because if you hand me a business card, that just sounds like you want money. I equate business cards to business, and business makes money. I don't
100%.
I just want to meet people.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's
handed
helpful.
a card to somebody this weekend, and they were like, oh, you want codes? And I was like, that was like the first thing that came out of the mouth. And I was like, no. I'm like, I want a relationship. Like, do you who are you? What can we do? I appreciate this thing that I'm seeing, and I'm trying to let you know that. And we carry the conversation on beyond that. But these are people who are receiving tons of them, right? And so the expectation becomes standardized. And so I want to further this conversation a little bit more, because that's one of the more critical parts of any convention, but also particularly TwitchCon, is how the networking works in a way that's effective, but also actually relevant and genuine and authentic,
organic,
and organic, or at least semi-organic, because it has to be kind of structured, right? Because we're at a convention in the first place, so we're already like putting the effort out there to do the thing and bring our expectations. But how does that really work sort of optimally? And do different people who have different needs have to treat it differently? How do you approach people with it and like not only follow up, but also introduce yourself as a person who's also a brand, right? That complicated
that's the elevator pitch.
Hybrid.
If I ask, who are you? You should be able to answer that in 2 sentences. Like, who are this is me. This is what I stream. This is how good or how funny or blank that I do on my stream. Boom, done. And your elevator pitch has to be interesting and different than other people. If it's I'm platinum in League of Legends, I'm bored of you. Like that's not a personality, and that's not even good. Like platinum's not good.
One thing I do want to say about the business cards is something that I made a tweet the other day kind of asking and to see people's business cards.
That was interesting.
And one thing I saw was that was really cool is people are putting like a picture of themselves on the business card, which I find to be super helpful. Because I still like business cards because I very rarely will add people on Twitter on the spot because I just don't want to like waste my phone battery. So like I like reviewing at the end of the trip, usually like at the airport or on the airplane. I'll go through everyone's business cards and trying to recall like the conversations I had, and then like start like adding people on Twitter from there.
When did you tweet that?
Last week.
5 days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Did you delete it?
7-ish?
Did I delete it? No.
Oh, I'm trying to find it because I think that's really interesting, and I want to see the responses.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting ones. There's a lot of people that do like weird shapes and designs and stuff, which I am personally not a fan of because I know a lot of people, if it's not the standard size, they'll throw them out instantly.
Yeah. Well, where do I put it, right? So like I have a few places where I put the I mean, and they're cute and they work in a certain way, but it's almost like I want to defeat your innovative idea because I just want simplicity. I just want them all to go in the same place and be the same shape.
It's too clever. It's just a bit too clever. It's like, hey, thank you for trying, but this isn't gonna work. But yeah, it's really hard to kind of talk about this kind of stuff because we all kind of process that information differently.
Right.
You defer that to later, whereas if I don't remember, I'll forget. If I don't do it right now, I'll forget.
I literally write on the business cards, and one thing that I wish that I did was do the whole thing, and there are a bunch of apps that allow you to do this. So like using Evernote is one that I like. Take a picture, put a quick note in there, and I've seen some people do this with me, which I loved. They took a picture with me, added my business card and the picture and a note. And I'm like, you are next level networking. Like they're going to remember every single aspect of that interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they sort back through it after the fact. They've got a little bit of notes, who I was, how much, rating their experience with me. Please give me 5 stars. That kind of a thing. It's interesting.
We're Uber now.
I know.
That might not be a good thing.
No.
Being Ubers.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's internal, like however you want to remember people's information is, like especially if you are bad with names or you just meet so many people. Like I
smelled fantastic.
I think that more like kind of goes. We talk about always how I think usually these conversations go about how do you give out your business card.
Yeah,
I think it's equally important to like make sure you realize how you take this information and kind of like embrace the way you do that. That's why I embrace kind of like hey let me I'll give you my phone, like please look for your your username on Twitch so I can follow so I can throw you a follow. Whereas other people are like what I used to do South by Southwest or whatever is just have that stack of business cards that I go through. But it all depends. And if you expect yourself to act one way, then just make sure to optimize that for, so that you'll actually act on these things, because people are kind of by giving away your business card, you're kind of depending on that person to eventually act on it, especially if you had a good interaction with them.
Yeah. And I think one thing to realize, and this kind of goes into the networking aspect, is don't just walk up and hand someone a business card. Like a business card should be given at the end of an interaction, not like just as a like, here you go, like handing it out kind of like candy.
Some people take that shotgun approach, right? Where it's like just blast out as many cards as they can to just as many people and something's bound to stick, right?
That may have worked at the first TwitchCon. It's not going to work anymore.
Right, it doesn't, At this point, looking at the numbers by themselves, it's,
I was in line to get into TwitchCon last year, and there was a streamer holding the door open, and as people were passing, they were just handing their business card out. I was like, I don't want your business card. Like, what is this? This is not how this works.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it equates to...
Go away, but I think it's a good idea.
It's not too far from going into every single stream and posting your link. You haven't.
That's different.
But only marginally. So like abstracting that out a little bit, it is just trying to get your name out as much as possible without giving any relevant information. Like you haven't given me any reason to care about your stream. Likewise with
they've done the
handing
opposite.
out your card. Yeah.
If you go into my stream and you post your link, you get banned, and then I write your name down, and I will never, ever, ever help you in any form ever again.
Wow, how many notebooks do you have of this?
That actually doesn't happen all that much.
Yeah, it does seem to have toned down a bit.
We have a spreadsheet. It's probably like, 120, 140 names. And, I don't commit them to memory, but if I'm looking for a new streamer, I'm like, maybe this guy, I'll just Control F. And then, oh, wait a second. That's this guy. No. No hosts for you, child. Goodbye.
Any other networking tips that you guys have for people that may be going to a convention for their first time?
Number one thing is don't be a weird jerk and wallflower and stand there and stare at me or anyone else. If you see someone and you want to talk to them, go talk to them. Please. Please, please, please. Not only is every streamer there because they want to meet people who watch their streams or meet other people to get ideas from, but it's really weird to have someone sit there and stare at you for 20 minutes. Just come up and say hi. Hello. Hey, just come say hi. Put your hand out. Do fist bumps. Don't shake hands. Never shake hands. You're going to get sick. Not a joke.
I mean, yeah, no.
How many times have you had the pox?
Not many times, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I always feel like
yeah,
you're
like
sick.
once.
Yeah, but that's right. Yeah, that's true. I actually bring like a whole pump thing of hand sanitizer, and I refill my hand sanitizer bottles. I care so little about the perspective on it. Like, I will shake somebody's hand and still talking to them, just do the whole thing, and usually offer it around as well.
Yeah.
I will say, like, one thing that happened to me also last year, and what you shouldn't do is don't straight up ask people like how many followers or viewers they have or subs. Like, try to get to know people on a genuine level, not try to gauge like how important they are before you continue talking to them, because that really will rub probably every single person the wrong way.
I think we need to like reel this back a little bit and be like, hey, learn some common sense conversational skills, because where would that ever be any?
Right.
Like, if that's the first thing you're asking, you probably need a complete overhaul on how you talk to people.
Yeah. Like, I'm just like on the street going like, hey, what's your bank account like? Do you mind? I need to know if I need to keep talking to you or not.
And it sounds stupid to say, but this literally happened last year. Like, one of the first encounters I had.
It happens all the time, yeah.
It's crazy.
Was trying to find your relevance.
Yeah, they were just so how many viewers do you have?
Yeah.
They're like, wow, that's a lot. And then they were like, oh, well,
like outside of a con recently.
Where at?
I was at a Korean barbecue restaurant picking up food for takeout, and I was wearing a Twitch hoodie, and the girl's like, "Oh, you stream?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you a partner?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "How many viewers do you get?" And I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to ask people that. I don't know.
I feel like that's more of like a curiosity thing than like a let's network kind of thing though. Like, I think they're kind of like, like, are you famous? Like,
I don't know. I always get a laugh out of it when I run into it, just anywhere. I ran into that, like, I think there was a security guard at Disney when we went this past weekend, and I was wearing my partner shirt, and they're like, "Oh, you're a partner?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then they just kind of did that, and like, "Oh, I'm an affiliate." I'm like, keep working at it, But it was cute. It's a cute interaction. But if it happens at TwitchCon, that's a bit different, because we're all more of a homogenous sort of, we're all the same there, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it outside of the con experience, but inside the con experience, it just, especially because that always just feels forceful. Like, what are your numbers? Yeah, that's how I'm gonna.
It seems super shallow. Yeah.
So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Nobody likes it.
Was there anything about TwitchCon that makes it unique from other conventions?
Now, then yes. Now I feel like PAX is pretty much the same. But the difference being is if you're a Twitch partner, there's somewhere for you to be at TwitchCon. Whereas now Twitch doesn't go to PAX anymore.
Right.
So there's nowhere for you to like centrally locate yourself. There's a little bit more of a home feeling, like the partner lounge. Last year, that thing was packed, man. Trying to find a seat was rough.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Before we get off the networking thing, I actually can't remember if we only talked about this in the pre-show or not. The whole thing about giving people your name. Did we cover that?
Nope. You covered that. You covered that in the pre-show.
I can't tell the difference sometimes.
You should just stop there and be like, sorry, you got to subscribe to Patreon.
Get on to Patreon to see our behind the scenes.
For this info.
It's patreon.com/StreamerSquare. So I was talking about this earlier, that at this PAX, at PAX West, I've surprisingly not had the experience at all yet once where somebody expected me to know or remember their name. Even people that I'd met many times, people that I have been, acquainted with, were still, shaking my hand or coming up and talking to me, or I was coming up and talking to them. And we would say our names to each other just to make completely sure we knew who each other was. And this was something that was a huge struggle way earlier on in the industry, and it seems like it's getting better. But I would make that as a hard recommendation. No matter what, even if you're wearing a name tag, if you're going up and talking to somebody, make sure that you actually introduce yourself and with some clarity. Minimize the mumbling, and just in case they look a little confused, maybe say it again. And please make sure that it's your username too, instead of like, hey, it's me, John. Like,
what's your Twitch name?
Yeah. What's your Twitch name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you like how many times I will see people for like the fourth time, and I just too many names at this point. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years. I go to at least 2 or 3 conventions a year. At this point, I can't remember everyone's name, especially if I see someone once a year. I can't do it. So
well, the more conventions we go to, the more names and people and friends that we sort of collect in a way. So that makes it more challenging as time goes on.
Yes,
like Pokemon.
Exactly. We're all like Pokemon. We got to catch them all.
No, but I'm being serious.
No,
like,
yeah.
How many years ago there was only 150 Pokemon? It was super easy to remember their names. Now they're like Electric Sheep, and I don't know who the hell that is. I've seen it.
I guess that's probably true.
I don't remember its name.
Yeah.
And if I don't remember that thing's name and it has plushies, I'm not going to remember yours. Just come on.
It's fair.
I don't know. I think from a basic level, it's just like, just have a good interaction with the person. It's like,
oh yeah,
just because, I guess when I talk to somebody, I just want to have a good conversation with them. I don't know where it's going to go. And if it goes somewhere, awesome. But I don't go into the conversation like thinking that. And I guess this is really, applicable at like parties, gatherings, anything like that when you're meeting people at dinners and stuff like that. Just going into it without, I guess, keeping your expectations low. Like, because, you don't want to see the conversation go in one way and then all of a sudden you're like, well, this isn't going well, and trying to save yourself out of that. I don't know. I guess I just handle my cons differently than I used to. It's like I go there because not just for my friends, but also just for the good speaking experiences with the people that I either need to meet in the future, I'm looking to meet, or people that I have met, even if even if we're not close. Like, I see Hunter maybe at TwitchCon, but we have like a 5-10 minute conversation and that's it. I don't like expect to be like, dude, we're best friends now, right? Like, or anything like that. We're like, we have a mutual respect for each other. We respect what the other person does. Like, I think that like that expectation that people go into these conversations and they're like wanting the world from that other person when you are meeting 2,000 plus people a year. It's like, just leave a good impression. Just be yourself, leave a good impression on them. And if the fates play out, they play out.
And if you have plans to be in the industry for quite a while, like, this ain't the last time.
Right.
Next time, maybe it's a 12-minute conversation. And eventually, and this is what's happened to me and probably all of us many times, eventually I'm at lunch with them and 4 other people. And then we're having the really interesting, deep, engagement, like genuine, the good stuff in life kind of thing. And sometimes it takes 5 years of buildup before that happens.
Mm-hmm. It takes a while. Like, see this is sort of like, hey, I'm gonna see which doors I can get my foot into to like, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's next year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like that mentality.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that I've seen them probably 3 years in a row at conventions, and like wasn't until like the 3rd year and the right like moment, like maybe it was at a party, like finally we had like a window to talk and really get close, right? Like, so these things are just like baby steps. And
that's actually making me tear up a little bit from some of my recollections of exactly that, where it's like Ohio, not Ohio, but like hello, and then actually getting in and diving in deep and finding that one like super relatable thing where it's like some like real like deep seated like soul level stuff. It's like, oh my god, now we've actually, like, I will never forget this interaction. And I couldn't predict that from like shaking their hands a handful of times over the last like 4 years. But being open to that, I think, without and absolutely to your point, like minimizing the expectations, just trying to present that authenticity. And it won't work out most of the time because most of us are just like crazy busy there, and it's like scatterbrained, and we're tired, right? And like we haven't eaten today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It just gets a little weird, and being okay with that is good.
Yeah, we're all just looking for different things too. I mean,
Also true. Yeah.
Like Twitch is
What you want is not what I want out of this.
Exactly. When Twitch was smaller, it was harder because we all expected we were all streamers, so we're all the same, right? No, I think at this point, Twitch has gotten so big that we've been forced to find our tribes. And so we're finding the people and finding those people that are not just streamers, but streamers of either the same game, or that they have the same mentality, or that they're the actors, or they're the comedians, or they're the real people, the people that are one-to-one, depending on if they're on stream or not. So it's easier to kind of find those people, but you can't just like expect every person to be that. And I made that mistake a lot, going into PAXs and TwitchCons in the past, where I was like, oh, hey, I think you're the type of person that I think I'll get along with. And then they're totally not the type of person I would get.
So I do want to talk about that a little bit, but I'm not sure if Loco, if you've got like a list of things that you want to make sure that we hit on that.
No, I actually just wanted to add that I think to what you guys are saying, also, I feel like the best experiences and relationship building happen not on the convention floor, but actually like after the convention. So like dinners and parties and mixers and stuff. Because I think people like the convention usually is very businessy. People are usually running between obligations. And so most people don't have time to talk, or they're too tired to talk because it's been an exhausting day. So being able to just like, I don't know, just trying to get out after the conventions can be really awesome for meeting new people and actually like having good conversations with people.
Well, so one of the things that keeps coming that I see happen every time is the conversations about cliquishness, which is related to the thing that you were just talking about. And it's something that I don't think there's like a really great answer, but I'm interested in your perspectives. That in my thinking, like there's literally only so much emotional energy that I can commit to only so many people, right? So like my closer friends, the people that I want to make sure that I'm spending more time with, just because of the nature of life and time and my energy to be able to do this, is inherently limited. So and any person cannot give to just everybody and be literally equally accepting and equally inclusive in terms of time commitment. And that makes a lot of people feel really bad because, I want to connect with this other person in particular, but they're not making time or room for me, or especially at the level that I want. So how do you feel about like navigating that? Because I feel like that's a very important quality for a lot of people to have a good con, is to not come out of it feeling like they wasted the time because they didn't develop exactly the right connections that they wanted to, or that people were like snubbing them, even if it was just, I'm with these people and I'm sorry that I can't bring everybody in with me, or that the party was literally could only hold 50 people and you were 51 or whatever it happens to be. There's that a sense of exclusion, even if it's not like, oh, don't let that guy in. It's just like there's nobody else can fit into my friend circle right now or into this room.
Well, I mean, I think people should show up with the expectations of being snubbed. I mean, I just think that's way more fair to yourself to go in and understand that unless you already know all of these people and have invites to all of these things you want to do, odds are you're not going to be able to see or do everything you're going to want to do because you're not in those circles yet. Formulate plans on how to be in the circle. Like learn who's in charge of these things, who are the key people that are running these things, and then get to know them and try to do so in, like we talked about, in a at least semi-organic way, because it just seems like you want to show up to the party, you're not getting invited.
What about creating your own space, your own circle, sort of
There's
trying to
400,000 affiliates. I mean, I think it's disingenuous to assume people are going to have the ability to do so easily.
No, I just mean like coordinating with a handful of people that you already know and seeing if they want to bring a small number of people that they already know, right? So like that's sort of like some of the organic networking without having to rely on a relationship you don't already have with somebody who's maybe bigger in the scene or in the industry. And then, you are meeting some new people, and every once in a while, in the practical terms, one of them gets lifted up. You've already developed the relationship, or you get lifted up, you bring a couple of people with you.
Yep.
And then in the future, it's working out where you're, kind of the big dog.
I mean, we're in the entertainment business. So a lot of the analogs you can actually draw are between us and like say Hollywood or that kind of thing. So I gotta shout out Would You Kindly for this. They do a great job of being together and throwing a little shindig for people. You can go there and see people that you know and people you don't know. It's exactly
just went to their thing last night.
Yeah. So they had that last night. I remember going that at TwitchCon. It's possible. It's definitely possible. And I think affiliates can do that. I did that at other conferences. I had a bowling tournament way back in like 2006 at a South by Southwest. So it's like, hey, let's go bowling because not everybody can drink, and so that became like a 3 or 4 year thing. So like you just have to have the idea and just have a couple of people to spread that out and just go with it.
I think it's a really good example too, because like none of them were born like metric rich on Twitch. Like every single person in there, they all came up from the 0 viewer thing, right? So like nobody like they came over from something else, or they just like inherited like all their viewership. They bonded together. They just that party was sponsored by St. Jude, because they have collectively raised over $500,000 for St. Jude.
Wow.
Because they bonded together and because they started creating relationships and opportunities for themselves and acting in a way that was consistent with where they wanted to be, not where they thought they already were. And I think a lot of that is that kind of like right approach and right attitude for networking, socializing, and mitigating your expectations, but also creating the opportunities.
So there are a lot of awesome opportunities for creating stuff for people to have fun with. It's just a matter of actually, becoming the event planner for it.
Yeah. So this is something that I've started to learn a lot lately, or I've learned a bit recently. And that's like, you're not gonna be able to find and see everyone at a convention. Like, I used to get like kind of anxious because I felt like I needed to see everyone I knew. And it's at the point where there's just too many people, and everyone has such different schedules, especially TwitchCon. I feel like is particularly busy for people because, there's opportunities for everyone to do something. You're not gonna be able to see everyone, and that's okay. You should kind of embrace the time that you have with the people that you run into and that you get to talk to.
Absolutely.
And I think also with like, finding people in these cliques and stuff, I've outside of conventions, I've tried to make it more of an effort to like actually just like talk to my streamer friends, like outside of streaming, like just kind of like hit them up and DM them and stuff. And, not everyone is going to respond immediately and, messages get lost, but you have to realize like, don't take that for granted, like, or don't, like hold it against anyone. Just realize like everyone is busy. Everyone has things going on. Embrace the conversations that you get to have, and try not to what you guys are saying, like don't hold your expectations too high. Like don't feel like you need to see everyone, like you need to split your time up to make time for everyone.
Yeah.
I think like preparing for TwitchCon or any con is a year-long thing. It's a year-round sort of thing because you're developing those friend networks, you're connecting with streamers, through their streams and stuff. So you're creating those connections outside of TwitchCon, and then the culmination of that is at TwitchCon. That's why like all these teams have amazing events, because they get to see each other. They're happy seeing each other and they want everybody to be there with them, because they already have those existing relationships developed. So it's not like you don't like say, you don't start at TwitchCon. You like start now, or you've started, or you're starting now for next TwitchCon, developing those relationships. So you're not putting yourself in a situation where you are the wallflower, or you are, the person that can't find anybody, because you don't have to, it doesn't depend on being in person. That's probably not even the best place because we're all so, out of our minds busy.
Yeah.
Catch us beforehand, after TwitchCon, being like, hey, we missed each other, but I really, really love to get a conversation in with you, like at next TwitchCon. Why wait? Get it in now. Like, hey, do you have some time? And then develop that, and then you'll have a much better experience with that person or that group of people at the next one. This isn't, again, this isn't the be all end all, but this isn't where you should start. It should be where things develop, because you're able to finally meet in person. It's like communication shouldn't just start and end there.
Yeah, and that's also a good point where, after the convention, what do you do after a convention? Go through your business cards if you haven't thrown them out. Stop by. What?
Yeah, when you're
yes.
yeah.
Oh
yes, no. When you get back from TwitchCon, like after everything's
when it's like
over,
fully concluded.
Try to stop by the streams of the people that you just met and be like, hey, like, I always see like friends that I got to like reconnect with, and they come by the stream like the first few days back. Like, make sure to do that and follow up with the people that you met to try to, cement those relationships and try to, build off of your conversation.
With companies, if you get a business card for like a community manager or PR manager, marketing manager, you want to send that email soon, because most streamers are lazy and they wait a week. Send it early, follow up a week later, and you'll be a step up on almost every streamer who's going to meet that person that week.
Very true.
Yeah, and I think that's like, it helps to have your face on that business card too, because when you give it to people like that, they meet so many people. It makes it that much easier for them to remember. Like, I know we kind of talked about business cards and like handing them to other streamers and stuff, but like I feel like for companies, like that's like super helpful.
Unless you change your face by shaving off the entirety of your beard.
And you have to get new business cards.
New business cards.
It's interesting though, because I approached a company about I think it was 2 TwitchCons ago, and like, I had a business card ready and I had like a really great interaction prepared and whatever, but then they had me fill up a web form, and I'm like, well, that just killed it, didn't it?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, is that a company I want? If a company forces me to fill out a form, is that a company that I want to work with? It's like, no. If I'm gonna want to get sponsored by you, I actually want to get to know you.
I want a relationship. Yeah.
I don't want to be some number on a paper.
do.
So
Yeah, meeting people in person is definitely a great gauge of character and who they actually are. Especially like with like companies and stuff too.
Yeah, like what are they actually looking for? Are they just looking for? Are they looking to use you, or are they looking for a relationship?
And I think one of the nice things about TwitchCon is everything that's there is catered towards streamers, so everyone knows what you do. You don't have to explain. I mean, I remember like going to like PAX like a couple years ago, like explaining what streaming is, and like, I stream on Twitch, like I can play your game, like, so you don't have to do that, right? Like that barrier is already broken. You just like everything that you see is catered towards you. So there's a lot of opportunity to check out new products and ask questions and develop relationships with brands that work with streamers already.
One thing that's like locking into my head from some of the interactions that I had this PAX, but also just consistently throughout history, is asking people and also being next to people and like watching them do the same thing, and me having done the same thing. When presenting yourself, I hear the exact same stuff. I'm a community-focused variety streamer.
You're boring.
Zero differentiation. As true as that might be, there is zero differentiation between your Brandon and the next person behind you and the next person behind them. And every single person, it becomes this churning grind factory of introductions that are meaningless. And this goes back to a point that I hit over and over again, is like, what's the vision and mission for your stream and your brand itself? But if you were trying to introduce yourself as just a person outside of that, like what, and you wanted somebody to be interested in you, you're not just like, hello, I'm a person who eats food sometimes and likes petting animals. It's like, okay, well, that's a little interesting, but tell me more, do more. Like, what's your favorite type of animal to pet? Have you had them before? And if you can condense that, I think, a little bit into that kind of 2-sentence sort of a thing, you've differentiated yourself in a way that becomes memorable and allows that brand or person to know whether or not they can relate and want to work with you. You don't want everybody to work with you. Some of them are not a good fit. So being able to pitch who you are so that they can know whether or not they want to do that is really valuable.
For sure. So we do have just a few minutes left. Do we have any final, like, don't forget this TwitchCon/convention tips?
It's okay to be nervous. All right, like that's a big thing, especially smaller streamers. They go in there. It's not just talking to people. It's going up and meeting community managers, or trying to figure out how to approach a booth. It's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to be awkward. Anyone who's going to be worth your time is going to recognize that you're awkward and try to diffuse that. And they're really good at it. I mean, this is something I've learned talking to viewers I've meeting for the first time, or companies that I'm a huge fan of, and I'm going up trying to talk to them about their game. Like, they've heard it before most likely, and they're excited to talk about it regardless. So just be as calm as you can and recognize that being nervous is not a sign of weakness. It's cool. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
100%.
We're all nervous. We're all nervous. It's like,
I'm not nervous.
Well, you're not.
Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm nervous.
Enough that you did.
I'm nervous enough for both
I'm
of us.
nervous now. I'm really
I'm suddenly nervous.
Suddenly, all of a sudden. Just that, we're streamers are human too. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yeah-ish. People
Not a
amongst us.
robot.
Yeah. So it's like we're probably, I'm nervous about when I meet my viewers. I'm like, I don't want to come off as that person that they thought they had this one thing about me that, and then I'm not that. It's like, I don't want to disappoint people, whether they watch me or whether they're a person I want to work with in the future. So it's like, if you come into that knowing that, everybody is sort of feeling that way, everybody's going to be anxious in their own way, and they're all going to exude it in that way, then, just find a way around it. Learn something about yourself during the con.
Now,
it was something I would say.
That being said, preparedness can go a long way. So practicing your elevator pitch, learning about the companies that you want to talk to, or the game that you want to, like, about the game that you want to play, can really help ease that nervousness. And if you come across knowledgeable, then that certainly helps too.
Literally practice in front of the mirror. I know how stupid it feels. And maybe it's not for everybody, but practicing in front of the mirror and speaking it out loud, not like whispering it to yourself, but like, how does it feel? How does it look? And even try recording it. Like, we have software that does this. We have the setups to be able to do this. See what it looks like. And don't be overly critical for yourself.
Practice with your chat and have them rate your
cast
pitch.
it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I do that all the time.
That's cool.
I'll try things and they'll be like, the thumbs up, thumbs down, and take it to heart. Interesting. Because I trust them. So
I want to add in the one that I think is important to always remind about, which is like, don't surprise people. Don't hug people from behind all of a sudden.
Yeah, not a good idea.
No unwarranted or unconsented touching.
Yes. And so this is actually one of the things I'm very happy to have seen is there was a big trend of people just like smacking each other on the butt out of nowhere for a good while. And that's almost completely gone away from my perspective, from what I've seen. And that's really nice. So that's been a big change that I want to see that kind of continue to move in that direction of like no surprise, no grappling. And if somebody doesn't want to shake your hand, be okay with that. It's like, oh yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, sure.
People will say no to hugs too. They don't want hugs, and that's okay.
And be okay to do that yourself. If it's uncomfortable for you, don't get outside your comfort zone for somebody else. Take that power for yourself. It's very important to do that.
Yeah, that was always a weird thing to me when I started working for Twitch. What's everybody's obsession with butt touches?
Yeah,
everybody talked about it in 2014. I was like, what? This is weird. And then you go to TwitchCon, you're like, people are actually doing this. What's going on?
I know.
It's not for me.
I had to have some real strong conversations with some people about that.
This community is weird, and now
but it's later. I like that. And it's like we're a lot more comfortable to be forceful about it now because we like audibly have a lot more support from other people to be like no, and other people nearby will be like hey no, it's a no kind of a thing, and it's nice to be able to do that for other people too.
I actually think the cons kind of made that a reality. It was like the memes became a reality and people were like, that's really uncomfortable. You should have never joked about this in the first place.
I know. I thought it was funny in text, but now I feel
exactly.
Really weird.
Hey, I gotta touch all your butts. So like, no, you don't actually do that in real life. That was all just text. It's the internet.
What about you, Loco? Got a big takeaway for this one?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of was just echoing off what you guys said with like becoming prepared and kind of practicing.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
before you head over to the convention. I mean, I don't know if they have the list of who's what booths and games are going to be there. Did they even have that information available on
Not
their
that I
website?
saw. but
Not
I
at the
didn't
moment.
Deep dive.
Probably
So,
next.
Yeah, that kind of makes it hard to kind of like, I don't know, research like what's gonna be there, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I think like you guys like pretty much hit the nail on a lot of things without getting into like super generic tips. I think if you guys want some more advice, we put out a couple of guides on StreamerSquare, the website. If you guys want, this one is like just general tips, and then we just put out a guide on business cards. So if you want like some more information on like how to design a good business card, or like examples from people like Hunter, you can check out that guide too. So hopefully that helps. There's a lot to talk about when we do these episodes, but I really like the focus of like the networking and social interactions, because I feel like it's not very easy to like write, and it's better explained
exactly.
from experience. So I enjoy talking about that.
Me too.
But I think that's where we're gonna end for the day, guys. So if we want to do some shout outs, Avalon, starting with you, let us know where we can find you and what you're up to.
I'm pretty much Avalonstar and everything: Twitter, Twitch, our Discord, etc. What am I looking forward to? Shadowkeep for Destiny 2. I'm like, can it be October 1st already? I mean, but yeah, just a lot of what I'm doing. It's nice being like a 2 or 3 game streamer because it kind of keeps things simple. But
I was just preparing my own, like what I'm looking forward to, and I was like, oh my god, but and you're like, yep, got it.
Yep, makes it easy.
Brandon, what about you?
Under no circumstances should anyone watching this stream watch me, including any viewers of mine that might be. Please don't come back. However, we run a charity. We opened a charity last year called Damage, DAHMG.com. Our first recipient of the grant that we give out is coming out, or the video will be coming out pretty soon. We've given the grant out. We also have a special follow-up project that we did with the runner-up who did not receive the grant, but we worked a special project for him. So you'll be able to check all of that out on YouTube and everywhere else that we'll post it. We're really excited for it, but don't look at me. Just look at that.
Feel free to link the charity in chat too, so we can check it out.
No.
Okay. Hunter, what about you?
I, having come back from my hiatus, relaunched my stream altogether now, focusing on indie titles, not exclusively indie titles, but focusing on indie titles. This is what I was saying. Looking at the number of things that are launching, especially having just visited the 6th floor of PAX that is just all indie stuff. Everybody I talk to, they're like, yeah, we're going to be launching in the next month or two, and it's like this huge spate of games that I'm looking at them. Just there's so much good stuff.
Yes.
Happening, so I really cannot even try to narrow that down. I'm going to be just trying to take that as it comes and see which one is just popping up first, because they all look, many of them look equally fantastic. So I should be streaming in a couple of hours at 5 p.m. Pacific, but I'm not sure. I'm considering going back to, because the PAX West is still open today, so I may get back in there for a quick last round. But you can find me at twitch.tv/thehunterwild. On Twitter, it's the Hunter Wild TV, and I also run StreamerSquare alongside my brilliant, amazing, fantastic, ever hilarious, and self-aware and powerful Loco.
These just get more ridiculous.
But never dishonest. Loco, what about you?
I'm playing Borderlands. I've been doing a first time playthrough Borderlands. I'm gonna keep my intro short because my voice has been gone for an entire month, and at this point I'm honestly not sure it'll ever come back.
Ridiculous.
You can find me at twitch.tv/LOWCO, twitter.com/loco2525, and check us out on StreamerSquare if you guys enjoy the show. We put all our videos up on our YouTube channel. You can find new articles up on our website, and you can check out our Twitter and our Discord server if you are looking for streamers to talk to, artists to hire, and
Yes.
other cool perks that we have. And we have a Patreon. So if you guys enjoy the show, you want us to do more shows, more educational content, consider supporting us for as little as $1 a month to help fund what we do here and providing awesome education for you guys.
It funds what we do, but you also get a lot of extra fantastic perks. That's how we built it out.
Yeah, so definitely take a look at that and what we have over there. We will be back next week, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. I don't think there's any Your Brand, Your Business because, again, Galen is having a baby this week, so he's a little busy. But we will definitely be back next Monday for our show. I think we're actually going to be talking about Mixer next week.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the changes that they have over there, the whole ninja thing, and much, much more. So I hope to see you guys next week for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been The Stream Scene, and we'll see you next time.